welcome to Yeah, We Read It. My name's Laura. I'm a host of this show.
My name's Maggie. I'm a host of the show. There can
And
only be
that's
one
us.
host, and they're fighting now.
And we're going to drop our asses from our spaceship onto Earth and see who survives.
Drop our asses from the spaceship into your ears. Listeners, that's right. We are coming to you with book 2 of the 100 series, day 21. You might be wondering,
Woo!
what's day 21? And
That's the
the
day
date.
radiation poisoning kicks in. And as we
Exactly.
know, they were sent down to Earth to be like, is radiation still a thing? Is radiation still a thing?
That's kind of what they're sussing out. So, as we know in the first book, the 100, they are on Earth, and we ended with one of their tribe getting murdered by someone who is an Earthborn, is a part of a bigger group of Earthborns.
And I would say it was a brutal murder, but honestly, it was pretty quick. Asher gets just plunged through the chest with an arrow, and he's donezo.
Exactly, and we didn't even know Asher. We didn't develop any emotional connection to him, so it didn't really matter, okay, guys? If you're hopping in now, we don't really care about Asher.
We are not an Asher apologist podcast. Maybe he deserved to die. We don't know his backstory. Maybe we should feel bad. We don't know his backstory. That's how it is.
Exactly. Don't ask us questions about him, because we don't have answers.
And we sure do. But what we do have answers is for what happens on this 21st day and beyond. And we're going to start with Wells at the makeshift ceremony, not ceremony, cemetery after Asher has passed on. And he's nervous about the future because he's like, whoa, whoa, whoa. They just killed one of us. Also in like a one-off attack. They like killed one person and we're like, and we're backing off. So he's like,
Also, it was while he was talking to Asher, so the person you're talking to just gets shot through the chest. I'd be like, let me finish my point at least. I
I'd be
might have
like,
been really
I'd be like,
interesting.
whoa, 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 please don't do this. There's no therapists out here. How am I supposed to handle this?
Exactly. Everyone's got a little smidgen of PTSD now. Wells is really upset because the cemetery has a ton of unmarked graves. He's like, that's not pretty personal. And how the camp is going to go now is Graham is creating these spears. There's going to be night shifts that keep watch. Conveniently, Graham can't do it. He is fucking a girl in the camp, so he's like, not my time. I need to
Graham
go have sex.
Graham is such an interesting, like, floating background character because we know Graham's a piece of shit, but we also know Graham's very helpful. Like, he's a good hunter. He's always kind of like on, like, with the camp, like politics. He always like goes for the most like violent response, but maybe he's just learning. I would love a Graham redemption in somewhere in this series.
So we're not an Asher apologist, but we are a Graham
I
apologist,
could
apparently.
apologize for Graham at some point. I could see myself doing that. Right now, Graham is awful, but I could see myself doing it.
He hasn't done anything too atrocious besides being like, people kind of broke the rules. Maybe we should kill them. And everyone goes, whoa, whoa, whoa. Let's relax, dude.
I also love that the main argument to like Graham, we shouldn't kill people. That's what space does. We're Earth now.
We're Earth now. We're like really tuned into nature. Everything is chill. But Wells is taking this night shift. He meets a younger girl, Molly, who got booted from the infirmary so Graham could have sex.
Nice.
And she's going to keep him company. Also, I did write a side note because Laura in the last episode brings up that Wells dies in the TV show, and I was very curious about it. I Googled it. One note says it's because the producer wanted to remind the audience that anyone can die at any time. And another said he had zero chemistry with the actress who is playing Clark, and their schedules didn't align, which is so funny. You can lose your job for anything.
And like honestly, and I will say the 100 TV show kills people left and right. It like does what Game of Thrones stopped doing, which is you get really attached to a character. It's like 4 seasons in and then suddenly they're dead. And you're like, "Wait a minute, what? They've been here for so long. It's insane."
Well, also apparently they wrote the show differently from the book because
Oh,
they signed up for this to come out before the book was finished.
yeah, so like the first book came out and they immediately signed it up for a show. So it was like there was no way it was going to be accurate.
That's awesome.
Insane. But anyway,
Yeah.
let's check on two sexy little lovebirds, Clark
Hmm.
and Bellamy. They've been walking for over 2 days to try and find Octavia. They're tracing little footsteps in the ground that
They've
they
closed their
find.
ring.
But they lose Octavia's trail. So what are they going to do? they're gonna do a night swim. And this scene is real flirty and real cute. They're like, let's not think about your missing sister right now. Let's be half naked in the pool and kiss.
They're in a
Um,
lake under moonlight.
but this is immediately ruined because there's like a snap in the woods, and Bellamy's like, whoa, 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 we can't keep canoodling like this. We gotta go investigate.
Yes. So he finds a track of footprints. Clark is finds some metal from a drop ship. It seems to be different from the one that they were on. So she is like, maybe people came before us.
Mhm.
Just as they're starting to investigate, Clark is bitten by a snake and it is poisonous. So Bellamy picks her up and rushes her to the infirmary.
This is important that this is also when Clark starts to realize that they've been here for 21 days and they're here to test if there's radiation levels. So if it's going to get bad, it's about to get real bad. But anyway, Bellamy's going to whisk her off. But before we figure out how the snake bite resolves, we're going to check in on Glass with Luke on Walden up in the space station. And it is looking grim for these two lovebirds.
Where
They
Glass and
are.
I know, seriously. Where Glass and Luke left off was, as you know, there are class factions on the ship. One of the ships is the lower class. They are not getting any oxygen as the ship completely just deteriorates. And it's just pandemonium. It's pure pandemonium
It's
on this
it's
ship.
pure chaos and suffocation, two things that do not go together, I will say. Um,
No.
but Luke is gonna make the most of it. He makes a cute little date with, like, these fancy plates that his ancestors brought on the spaceship and puts protein paste on it.
Yeah, they
Um,
utilize all of that. They're like, a Michelin star protein paste?
we
Babe,
love
I made
it.
it for you.
Olivia would never.
Lydia would
No.
never.
But Luke's like, wow, this protein paste has me thinking maybe we could try to find our way to get to Earth and get on a drop ship. So a plan is brewing. Um, Wells is keeping guard at camp when Bellamy bursts in with Clark in his arms, seizing in his arms. We also have to mention Bellamy and Clark were previously just walking for 2 days. How the fuck did he get back to camp so fast? Unless they
Damn,
were
he's
doing
like,
like snake trails or something, but that still doesn't make sense to me.
no, he went Flash from the Incredibles mode. He just bolted.
I forgot Bellamy has superpowers.
Yeah, so in day 21 we learned Bellamy is the Flash. He
Could
is
you
the Flash.
imagine just being introduced to like a weird fantasy plot line all of a sudden? Like, oh, and Bellamy has a pet dragon.
I guess it could work. I mean, it's kind of dystopian. If they had two-headed deer in the first book, why not bring a
That was
dragon
from
in?
the radiation, Meggie.
Suddenly he's mastered Pokemon. He has a Charizard that he just flies through the woods.
The 100 crossover with Pokemon is the collab I didn't know I needed.
They do it for branding purposes. People are reading, they're like, Cass Morgan, why did you put this in here? So he comes back with, I imagine, did you? Because I'm imagining he didn't clothe
Oh, she's half naked.
Clark.
Hell yeah, absolutely.
And she like came out of the water. So I imagine it's a little bit see-through clothing that he is bringing her back with to her ex-boyfriend.
Yeah, and he's like, "Whoa, whoa, whoa, what's going on here?" But they luckily have developed this like all superior antidote up in space. So Wells gives Clark this antidote and is like, "Hey, Bellamy, now that you're here, there's Earth people that we have to be worried about."
There's movement outside near the woods, and Wells notices that it is a Earthborn girl, takes off running.
He Man, for someone who's never played football before, he sets this tackle up so well. He gets her
hmm
first try.
I know. There's no struggle, nothing. And he brings her back. He's like, I got this. Look at this prize. And Bellamy starts pointing with his finger, going, Where's my sister?
And Graham starts pointing his sister, going, "Let's murder this girl."
There is a really interesting moment here where they note that Sasha, who we'll learn the name of later, is the Earthborn girl. She is darker complected, which leads me to believe that most of the people on the colony in space is white. So there is a little bit of an indicator of who got saved
Yeah.
when they went up to space.
I will say Wells and his dad are black in the TV show, so I cannot get
I
that
noticed
picture out
that
of my
too.
brain.
Yeah.
That's why when they were like, Wells and Bellamy are half brothers, I was like, oh, okay, I guess I could see half brothers. But
Yeah,
that's because I'm still picturing the show.
that's fair.
Anyway, we get a really good scene here where Bellamy and Wells start doing this like good cop, bad cop vibe with this Earthborn girl, and she is dead silent the entire time.
They settle on having her in the infirmary, tying her up, and as Bellamy is watching over her, he has a flashback to the day he met Lily.
The reveal that he knew Lily, as listeners, a dear reminder that Lily is Clark's BFF test subject from the previous book that
Yep.
she mercy killed, and Bellamy knew her. This was not, I really had no idea something like that was going to happen. I was like, oh, sucks that Lily died. She's coming back. She's back from the dead in our memories.
Yes, and what do you expect him to know her in what vicinity? He meets her when he is in trouble. They seem to meet in the lobby of the director's office. Not really sure what her deal is, but it's a meet cute.
It's a meet
Yeah,
cute.
it's gonna be romantic.
And we're gonna get more development right now because Clark at night is waking up from her bad antidote-induced dream, remembering Lily, and Bellamy is there when she wakes up. Clark sees that there's an Earth girl, but she is so stressed. And Bellamy's like, "Hey, like it's all good. I'm here. We're here." And she's like, "Bellamy, I really have to tell you something. It's really bad." And he's being so sweet, so supportive. He's like, "It's cool. We're gonna figure it out."
Yeah, he's like, my sweet little princess, you're awake. Don't say anything. Don't. She's pointing at Sasha. She's like, who's that? And he's like, my little angel hair pasta. Don't you dare go back to sleep.
Yeah, and we learned that Lily was his old girlfriend, and Clark's like, "Uh-oh, I don't think I could tell him what I was about to tell him, so we're gonna zip that right on up."
Yeah, they figure out that they mutually know her, and he's like, how do you know her? And she's like,
How
I
do you
spins the
know
wheel.
her?
She's like, doctor's apprenticeship up in the throws a dart hospital
I
in
didn't murder your
hospital.
girlfriend. No, what? Why would you say such a thing?
She does a Mad Libs of how she knows her, and he buys it.
I
He's
met
like,
her
yeah, that
at
makes
the
sense.
purple church.
Purple.
That's very Mad Libs, right?
Not giving her poison and lethal injection, but just praying.
We were
That's how we know each
watching
other.
the anyway, we're gonna check back in with Glass, who again is slowly suffocating.
Mhm.
She's gonna try to crawl back through the vent to get back to Phoenix. But by herself, Luke isn't gonna come with her. She's gonna like kind of suss it out and come back.
As we know, every chapter the characters will have random flashbacks. Her flashback for this one is it does not relate to the plot, but it is a funny side quest where Clark is trying to hang out with her after class, and she's so annoyed because Clark has been asking questions nonstop that she takes the minute to say, you can't come shopping with us. Honestly, you would have better luck fashioning your ugly ass shirt together with your gross ass pants if you just burn your entire outfit. Which I think is so. I was reading it and I was like, what is the
Yeah,
point of
Glass
this
like
flashback?
the flashback to like learn that Glass was fucking mean is
She was a
actually
bully.
she was a huge bully, but Karma comes back and bites her in this flashback because when she gets home
Yes.
from school, her mom's like, "Yeah, your dad's moving in with his mistress, so it's just you and me now."
And
Yeesh.
even worse in present time, as she is crawling through to get through to this vent, get to the other side of Phoenix, she starts banging her feet against the wall. She finds that it is barricaded from the other side by none other than Camille, Luke's ex.
And like a supposed friend, like wouldn't you want to keep that open for Luke to come through? Okay, Camille. Um,
Yeah,
but but then Glass is gonna come up with the brilliant idea that
crazy.
what if they go outside around the ship to get into Phoenix?
So that's what they're
That's
gonna
a
do.
plan. But we're not gonna see how that plays out just yet because we're
Mm-mm.
gonna check in on Wells, who's taking care of the sick Molly, and Clark is starting to think that Molly's really looking like she might have some radiation poisoning.
Day 21, baby. They're out of luck because they used all of the antidote on Clark when which is so funny. Wells was really panicking.
Oh, he was.
Listen,
I
what are
mean,
you gonna do?
he's not medically trained. We learned that there was like 12 doses of universal antidote, and he just gave it all to Clark. And it's like, how is he supposed to know? There was no instructions on the bottle.
Also, wouldn't like more of all of your medicine, that's like taking all of your maybe not antidepressants, I don't know, but all of like a Z
Like,
pack in one day, wouldn't that
couldn't you
upset your
imagine?
nervous system?
Yeah, that's probably why Clark was having such scary dreams about the girl she killed. But, like,
Yeah.
it'd be like giving like, somebody being like, "Oh, I have a headache," and you're like, "Here's 40 ibuprofen."
Is this gonna help? I don't
I
know.
just shove them in there, make her swallow.
I don't pay attention when you talk. Here's all of the medicine is essentially what happened.
I don't know, I just shoved it in your bloodstream, what am I supposed to do?
So they don't have an antidote, which really sucks too, because this guy named Felix, who is dating this other guy, I think his name's Eric, in the camp, comes in too, and he's like, "Oh, my tummy hurts." So
And Evan Clark's starting to think that could be radiation poisoning. But once everybody is gone, Earth Girl, she's gonna turn to Clark and be like, "So who's Lily?" Because she wants tea, which is the most relatable response I've ever seen from a captive. Like, "Oh, there's gossip that I need to be tuned into."
the subtext to this is everyone on camp has been trying to figure out if she speaks English, and they're
Yeah,
like, she speaks English. Clearly, she is Earthborn, which is a hilarious assumption. But she doesn't speak until she wants gossip. So
relatable,
relatable.
relatable. Pick your battles, and this is a battle I would be picking.
This is when they learn that her name is Sasha. She reveals people from the colony were dropped previously on Earth way before the 100 came around, and they were kind of an older crowd. But Sasha does hint that they betrayed them. She will not tell anything else. She's like, I'm not at liberty
Yeah,
to say, but
yeah,
the colony betrayed them.
yeah, we learned that there was 10 people, 7 when Sasha met them because 3 died at the landing. Because really the space station did not figure out how the crash landing would be a graceful landing. So what happened for the 100 happened for the 10. And Sasha also reveals that a faction of their people split off at that point in time, and they're the ones who actually killed Asher. So now we have 2 groups of Earthborn people, one good, one evil. Um,
Mhm.
and we don't have time to think more about this because another teen gets shot in the leg while like Sasha's revealing all of this information.
I know. Things
Ugh.
are not looking up for the camp because food is dwindling. Bellamy comes back. He has gone hunting for people. He's only brought 2 rabbits. So people are pissed off because they're relying on one guy to do all this work.
Yeah, weird how no one else has tried to take up hunting. Come on, you guys.
Graham does come back and he's like, "You're 2 rabbits? I caught a fox." So now he's knight in shining armor
Sure
right
is.
there.
Wells is gonna start to try to befriend Sasha. This is where we see like Wells's good intentions pay off for once. There's no like bad consequences because he's gonna give Sasha some of his like limited protein pack that he's been saving in his pocket. We get a flashback here of Wells's dad acting suspicious on his birthday, like, and it's very obvious. Wells can read his dad like a book.
Which you picked up as an affair, right? I
I
figured
I
that
I
he
didn't
had
know
a
if it was an
secret that he was an
I didn't
affair.
read it as an affair. I thought it was like more of like the drop ship conspiracy. Knowing what I know
Oh,
now, I'm pretty sure it's an affair, but more on
we'll
that
get there.
later.
So
Yeah,
back in present time, Sasha is like, "Listen, I need to gain your trust. Like there's no reason to not like me. The people that are attacking your camp are a part of the faction that broke off from the Earthborns. Let me show you where food is." And she brings him to these trees cuz now corn grows on trees. Whatever. The Iowan in me cringed at that. And he's barraging her with questions. I love that one of his questions about Earth is, "Where's Washington D.C.? Is it still here?" Brother, who cares?
but he cares.
He
I
cares.
honestly, if I was in a space station my entire life and knew nobody who had ever been to Earth, I'd be wanting to know everything that was still around. I'd be like, is there a Ferris wheel? Is there pyramids?
What would be like the one thing I think that I mean, now that I'm in New York, obviously want to know if the Statue of Liberty is still there.
I feel like I'd wanna see a waterfall. That would sound I feel like if I was in
Oh.
space, a waterfall would sound crazy. I'd be like, "How does that work?" You know?
Yeah, that is true. And I mean, they're in nature, so they could feasibly find it.
Yeah. Um, they also learned that Sasha's people, they used to live underground, and only 50 years ago did they start to live above ground. The radiation had subsided enough for her to do that. Uh, they also realized they have something in common because Sasha's dad is also the leader, just like Wells's dad is chancellor.
Yeah, they seem to become friends now. Meanwhile,
Corn will
back
do that to you. Man, classic. Corn
Hey,
bringing people together. That's the
if I
Midwest.
know one thing from Iowa Plug, shout out Iowa, growing up in Iowa, if you spend a summer detasseling, that is your best friend right there, bestie.
So true, bestie.
Back on the ship, Glass is, for some reason, going to be the one who elects herself to go outside on the ship. Can you follow this line of
So
logic? What is it?
this logic here, listeners, is between Luke, who has spacewalked, and Glass, who has not spacewalked. Glass is going to go spacewalk to the entrance of Phoenix because she'll be able to get in because she's a Phoenician. Because if Luke gets in, they'll just be like, "Fuck this guy, cut him loose."
We're gonna shoot him in
So that's
space.
why she has to go. The logic still doesn't make sense because I'm like, does she have like a key card to get in?
You think they would bolt the ship from the outside, but who's to say? We don't know. We've never
Yeah.
been to
Who
space.
knows? He also might know the code that she can like punch it in or something and get in, but it doesn't make
Regardless,
total sense.
he is in her ear being the man in the chair. He's kind of talking to her, and she is climbing up a ladder I visualized on the ship, and she
Yeah.
overshoots the jump to the rung, and she's kind of floating for a bit. Meanwhile, Luke is back fighting off four guys who tried to jump him, so he can't
Oh,
really reel her in just yet.
reading this was so stressful because she misses the jump and then she's just calling out for Luke and nothing is happening in response. And then he finally comes back and is like, "Sorry, I just fought off like four guys. What's up? Oh, you missed your jump. Oh god."
So he reels her back in. She opens the chute back into Phoenix, and they have a plan to meet at the Sky Bridge. So when she hits the button to open the Sky Bridge, first of all, people are piled up against this invisible bridge, so much so that the force is like pushing them against this bridge. She hits the button. I mean, what do you think is going to happen?
It's a Black Friday mad dash. Mad dash onto Walden.
It's a BOGO buy one get one flip
Hey,
flop at
there's
Old
only 3
Navy.
flat screen TVs for sale, and these people are gonna get it.
So they're gonna get fucking crushed in the mad dash of Best
People,
Buy.
in all seriousness, people literally do get trampled. That is
Yeah, they
how
do.
intense this scene is.
That is, we don't want to underestimate
We're
that.
doing a
People
Black
do
Friday bit,
die.
but it is very serious that people really do get trampled.
Petco, buy one hamster, get the gayer one free.
I forgot about that joke.
So I'm sorry, we shouldn't be laughing. People are dying right now.
But if you went to Petco and you gotta buy one gay hamster and you gotta get another gay hamster free, wouldn't that be great?
On Black Friday too. So,
Uh,
anyways, people are dying.
yeah, and so people are getting trampled and people are not making it past this entrance on the sky. We're
Okay, back
horrible.
back on Earth. We're gonna reset. We're gonna take a moment of
We're gonna
silence.
reset. We're gonna reset.
Clark is stressed out because Molly and Felix's conditions, they are not improving.
No, no, no.
She is like, Bellamy, we need to go to the other side of the dropship. I mean, maybe there's more medicine there.
Yeah.
And um she starts getting like, she's like sad she couldn't save the people who died in the
And
last
it's like,
dropship.
bitch, you weren't there. Calm down.
You can,
Um,
yeah,
we also get a
relax.
moment here where Eric is like, Clark, I'm pretty sure these people have radiation poisoning. We have radiation pills. But the thing is Dr. Clark is like, if this isn't radiation and I give them radiation pills, they will die. So like the stakes are very high.
Yes, because these were the pills that her parents were investing in
Yes.
and testing on children.
Anyway, they go back to the wreckage. They find like the
Mhm.
makeshift graves for the 3 people who died. And they're just like looking around. Not much happens outside of that.
Side quest that is happening is that the corn has really placated the camp. They're not too hungry anymore. Sasha gets a corn on the cob from Wells. Huge peace offering corn can be. And she is like, God, you still don't trust me, do you? Okay, follow me. I want to show you something.
Yeah, Sasha has the hookup for all the cool places, honestly.
She really does. She brings him to this abandoned old house where this whole family fled, and he's in awe of it. And he does let slip as they are looking at these things that what happened on Earth were the people's faults. Like, why didn't they just get to the centers that were you were supposed to be, thrown into space in? And Sasha clocks him and is like, "Do you ever wonder why everyone on the colony is white? You don't think they were
Yeah.
chosen? Like, think again, dude. Come on."
Yeah, and this is where Wells realizes that people had to pay to have a seat on the space station. It
Like
wasn't like
2012, the
yeah, it
movie.
wasn't like a, "Oh, we're all, like, at first come, first serve, we're all getting drafted." It was like, "No, no, no, you had money and you paid to be there."
Mhm.
Um, Clark is still thinking about the graves of the people, and this turns into her and Bellamy. They start hooking up, and she's gonna let drop that she has never done it before, and she's gonna ask Bellamy if he has, and he's gonna say, yes, he has, with one person, and it's Lily.
Yeah.
Could you imagine you are about to lose your virginity. You have mercy killed your best friend not even a year prior, and you find out the person you are about to have sex with is the person who is dating your best friend who you mercy killed?
You also catch on that he's only been in love once, and it is with this person who you killed.
And you're also like, "I get it. She was amazing, but I killed her."
So I imagine he is like trying to kiss up and down her neck, and she is like, "Wait, wait, wait. Before we do this, I need to tell you something." And it's one of those classic scenes in movies where they're like, "Nothing you say will ever make me not like you." And they're like, "No, you might want to sit down for
You
this
might want
one."
to say this is really bad.
And she admits, "My parents experimented on kids. Lily was one of them, and I assisted suicide her. I helped kill her."
Oof. And I do hate Bellamy in this moment because
I
instead of having a
know.
million questions like I rightfully would, he
Yes.
just blames her entirely. Uh for this, like he blames her for not stopping it, for not trying. He blames her parents. She's a murderer, and he just gets up and leaves.
Yeah, he's like, "No, you fucking didn't, you slut." And then
And she's like,
his
"No, I'm still a virgin."
"I'm still a virgin. You can't slut shame me." And his resolve is, since he's so goddamn angry at Clark and he can't take it out on the woman in front of him, he is gonna go and try to torture Sasha to figure out where his sister Octavia is. He said, "No more Mr. Nice Guy."
Literally, Wells and Sasha return. He sees Clark crying, so Wells is gonna go check in on Clark, and they have a really sweet moment here. Clark is like, "I really should have like forgiven you. Like, I understand how complex the things that we did on the ship were, and how they are not black and white."
And you will never guess how this sweet moment ends. They see Priya, one of the girls in the camp, hanging dead. She is hung by her neck with the words "Go home" carved into her feet.
Yeah. So they bring Priya's body back to camp, and Wells just hears screaming off in the distance. Like this, I feel so for Wells in this moment. Imagine this: he's gotten food for the camp. He sees a cool house. He's hanging out with this girl. He always sees his like ex crying, and he's gonna comfort her. He sees a person hanging from a tree, and now has to bring their body back to camp. He hears screaming and walks in on Bellamy choking Sasha to death, essentially.
This is what I imagine having 4 kids is like. This is what I imagine running a
Wells
household
is
of
so
4
mother right
kids.
now. He's like, "Hey, hey."
Relax. Like, truly, I was like, "Oh, this is what it felt like when I would babysit in high school." Everyone's having side quests, they're all really close to death. You're like, "Stop doing that. I'm trying to feed this one kid."
And you're like, "Sasha, how did you get over here? We were just at the house. Where did you go in this time
You
frame?"
come, one of them is holding a knife to the other one's throat. Bellamy's like, "I'm gonna kill Sasha." And you're like, "Put it down. I have put out Scooby snacks for everyone. You can all
Yeah.
relax. We're all
Yeah,
just hungry."
no snack until you stop strangling Sasha.
Stop strangling her. So, as we know, that is what Wells walks in on. Bellamy has a knife to Sasha's throat. He is like, "Tell me where my sister is." And she is like, "It is the other Earthborns. I have no idea." And Bellamy does release her into Wells' arms to
They
because
walk back to camp holding hands, so romance is a brewing, and I like it.
I know.
Back to Glass's POV. It is a shit show up in the stars, I gotta say.
Shit show
Um,
up in the stars is a beautiful
Put
sentence.
that on a t-shirt, because it's going to be true for the rest of the book, unfortunately. There's an announcement that during this buy one get one flat screen TV sale up in space, the trespassers will be shot, and it is happening. We also get a flashback with here where Glass and her mom have moved into a smaller apartment now that her father has left them, and they are struggling to make it work. But Glass, she's learning. She gets their lights turned back on by by manipulating her friend's dad to turn them back on.
And it's an important flashback because it just goes to show what she will do for her mom, all of the stakes that she will go through.
Mhm.
And once they find her mom actually has a pretty good response to meeting Luke, and they all agree they're like, "Okay, gang, we got to get to these drop ships before everyone."
Yep. And we also know that Sonia does deliver this very, very haunting news. There is not enough drop ships for everybody. There was when they first went up into the space, but now there's more population here, so no, not everyone's going to make it down. Bad news.
Bad news. Bellamy meanwhile has turned on Clark so much he's like just not really, not really there for her anymore. He's got a lot of time to think as he's kind of trying to follow these instructions to the Earthborn's lair.
No, that's a little bit later.
Am I a little bit later?
Yeah,
Okay.
you're a little bit later because right now Clark and Sasha are talking about death and having like a really good like Clark getting a
Mm,
girlfriend moment because Clark doesn't have like a lot of friends we gather from the flashbacks.
yeah.
But Sasha's gonna also show her some like earth plants and ones you can eat, ones you can't eat, things that are medicinal. And Clark realizes that Molly and Felix were eating poisonous berries and they're gonna be back on their feet in just a few days. So there is no radiation present, which is very, very good news.
Hmm.
um Sasha's also, she knows all the cool spots. She's going to take Clark to a cave
Yeah,
that
she
she
does.
very nicely took all like the remnants from the first dropship and put them in this cave just in case like she wanted to look at them or somebody else wanted to look at them later. And Clark finds her father's watch in this collection of junk.
Yeah, which is crazy. Now she's like, fuck, were they sent to Earth instead? Are my parents alive?
Or the watch was, we don't know.
Or the watch isn't working, guys. I know you're like,
Yeah,
I'm
we
dying
get
to
a
know if the
flashback.
watch
The
is
watch is
working.
broken. Don't worry. Um, but Clark is going to ask to speak with Sasha's dad. And Sasha's like, yeah, 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 bet I got you. So they're going to make their way over to Sasha's family and people. And they get cornered by Graham and Wells and some others. And Wells was obviously going to let them go, but Graham is not. So Sasha distracts them so Clark can run.
So Clark is on the run. This is where Bellamy is following Sasha's instructions. He's going to try to find the Earthborn's lair. And as he's doing this, him and Clark bump into each other. I
Awkward.
imagine It Takes Two style with Mary Kate and Ashley, where they're both running through the woods,
Yeah.
bump into each other.
And they
And
realize they're going to the same place. Isn't that
they
awkward?
realize, yeah.
Well,
You
what are
know,
you
it's
doing
like when
here?
you say goodbye to someone and you're both going the same way and you're like, fuck, I gotta keep walking with them.
Yeah, and it's tense, but
Mhm.
he like builds a fire and it's like laid. So he's like, I mean, you can stay for the fire if you want. And Clark and Bellamy here is also wrestling with like again that everything isn't black and white. He's like, okay, like we're going to the same place. I hate this girl, but I like this girl. I hate this girl, but I feel bad for her for some
Mhm.
reason.
I would love to see these two chapters back to back as a film because I imagine them sitting in the complete awkward silence of a fire cut to pure pandemonium. On the ship, someone manages to open the door to the launch deck. Everyone is fighting for a ship seat. Sonia twists her ankle.
Yeah. A Camille finds them and for some reason tells Luke about Carter, and Luke just up and disappears. We aren't sure if it's like from his own free will or because there's so many people that people are just getting shoved and separated left and right. There's only 7 ships, and it is a mess.
Refresher on who Carter is. Carter is Luke's best friend who Glass said was the father of her baby, so they would execute Carter instead of Luke. So
Phew.
Luke is by round two. See
Yeah,
ya.
and the juxtaposition of, like, we get these moments on Earth and we just keep cutting back to the chaos with Glass is so well done as, like, a
Mhm.
writing style. I cannot get enough of this.
Mhm.
But back on Earth, Wells and Sasha, they're gonna have a little moment. They're gonna wish on a star. Cute. Um, Sasha kisses Wells, and Wells unselfishly tells Sasha that she needs to go back to be with her people because it's not safe for her to stay at their camp.
Mhm. Clark, meanwhile, says something that reminds Bellamy of Lily around their fire, and this is when he finally realizes that Lily did, in fact, make Clark promise to kill her. He finally apologizes because, I mean, it really isn't Clark's fault. And they start gently kissing.
They
Very
say I love
cute.
you to each other.
Yeah. And then they finally hook up. She does lose her virginity.
Woo.
Congratulations, Clark.
Good work, Clark.
It's underwhelming.
Yeah, we don't get much details. It must have been just fine. But Clark afterwards spots a mystery light off in the night,
Mhm.
and she's like, "We gotta go investigate." So they walk towards it, and it's an electrical light sticking out of the ground, and it's illuminating a plaque for Mount Weather. And there's a staircase down the mountain. Um,
Yep,
so they
this
gotta go
is
do that.
a shelter the US government put up for people to flee to.
Yes.
Wells,
Yeah.
meanwhile, is on lookout duty. Graham figures out he let Sasha go. He's pissed off. He's like, "Yeah, I bet you fucking let her go because she's a slut and you're hooking up with her." And Wells attacks him. This triggers like a memory that he followed his dad after soldier training one day, and he found her like him running his hand over a wall of those who had died thus far, and it was a woman's name, and he was like, "This is no secret, I was in love with someone before your mom, but she was a wall tonight and I was going to be chancellor."
Yeah. It's really sad because he's like, like, I didn't marry her. I couldn't put her through this lifestyle. He's like, "Of course I love your mother," but it's very clear that he loves Wells's dad loves Wells's mother in a different way than he loved this woman.
Which,
Yeah.
I mean, I guess that's how it
Um
goes.
But Wells is like, "Whoa, whoa, whoa, things at this camp are getting tense. I'm gonna bail." Fair. And then we're
hmm
checking in with Clark and Bellamy, who are gonna enter into a metal door at the end of the staircase into a mountain. And it's gonna lead to more stairs just inside of a mountain now. That's
they
pretty interesting.
they just keep going down, and when you like go down and you are maybe exploring a cave or something and the temperature drops, it's super cold.
It's
They
so dark.
have figured out how to create an upside down river sort of to survive the nuclear winter if they were ever dehydrated. They don't see anyone, but it is this full society. There
Yeah.
is this like bald eagle statue with the names of all these government officials who are alive and dead. They're
There's
all
a like
dead.
a directory of like hospital this way, council office this way. Like it's an underground mall basically, but with like actual important things, not Forever
Yeah, they're
21
like looking at the
and
mall directory. They're like, should we go to Limited 2 or the
yeah.
crematorium?
Like no, limited to closed. But once they're done looking at this, they notice four figures off in the distance, and before they can really do anything, they're shot with tranquilizers, and Bellamy is clocked out.
Shit. Fuck.
Speaking of shit, that's what Glass is saying up in space because there is more chaos at boarding. Excellent segue, I must tell myself.
You guys, this scene is so funny because I'm reading the scene point of view. I'm in the bar. I'm reading the scene. The dropship mass scramble with Glass. I'm not even kidding. It is the scene with the from the Titanic with the
It is. A
lifeboats.
man is playing a violin. It is literally the Titanic.
I think this is the scene from the Titanic, and then the man with the violin starts playing the music, and it. I started laughing so hard.
But it is really sad because Glass like sees like a little boy who like seems like lost and like doesn't like
Oh,
have
it's a
anybody,
toddler.
and
Yeah.
she like reaches out to like grab him to come with her, and like they just get separated so fast because there's so much back and forth between this giant crowd.
So unlike Titanic with Billy Zane, who grabs the kid and goes, "My son, this is my son," and tries to get on the girl. She can't. She can't be a
No.
Billy Zane.
We do get a quick clip here of Camille stealing a spot from someone else. She, like, actively picks someone up and steals their spot,
Like Billy Zane.
like
I'm
Billy
sorry, it's
Zane.
literally Titanic. Vice
Camille is Billy Zane. Camille Zane.
Yes. Vice Chancellor Rhodes comes on with his posse. He's, like, strolling in like the Bad Blood music video, Taylor Swift, and after I'm
Nice.
sorry, after this mass scramble, and they got guns, he's like, "Listen, we're gonna get Vice Chancellor on. Glass and Sonia, yeah, come on. Come aboard. Why
We
not?"
don't understand why he picks them to
I assume it's
come.
because her mom is sleeping with him?
I think so, but, like, it wasn't really explained, but I kind of like that. It gives an air of mystery to it. But
Mhm.
immediately, like, they take the last 3 spots. They're about to close the door and get drop shipping. But a guard goes rogue and immediately is like, "One of you all better give me your seat because I'm not dying up here." And he starts threatening Glass, and Sonia's like, "No, no, no, she's my daughter. I will give you my seat instead." Luke comes out of nowhere to
Mhm.
fight this guy. Like, where you been, Luke? And in the chaos, Sonia gets shot by this guy.
I know. It was really I gasped.
Yeah, yeah. But Clark wakes up in a cell, back down underneath the ground,
Yeah,
and
let's go
Bellamy's
under the
also
mountain.
there. And we're starting to think maybe Sasha was lying about her people being nice.
But don't worry, she's there to explain why they're in prison cells.
Very
She
convenient.
I know, seriously. She's like, "I really wanted to be here when you woke up. Oh my god, good morning. Here's bed and breakfast. Do you guys want eggs? How do you take them? Do you want toast? Let me just bring you to my dad. He'll explain." Okay,
Hey,
he'll
you guys
explain.
found it. Did you guys make the directions okay?
Congratulations. So she brings him up this really long ladder to civilization. And I imagine them like overlooking a field of just children playing, and her dad shows up and he like lets Octavia out of pasture. It's like a cow with the gate open.
Yeah.
Come
I imagine
here.
they built, like, a very quaint and beautiful, like, neighborhood in a valley.
Yeah.
It seems very cute and nice.
And so
But
he's like, "Bellamy, I saved your sister last night. Here she is." They reunite. And then he goes into explaining the first dropship that landed, which is they took them under their wing, the people from the colony. They were sent to test radiation levels and search for supplies, and they were really getting along when the colony people were like, "Hey, we're going to go fishing." And the small boy is like, "Me, take me." So he goes fishing with them, and since people from the colony haven't seen water, they like haven't swam, they don't know how to. This boy falls in and he drowns.
And so then this really divided the group of people that Max, her dad, and Sasha are a part of.
Mhm.
So one faction wanted to kill them. Max decided to just banish them, but the other faction is who killed that entire group of people. But he does note that 2 people left their group before
Mhm.
all this drama went down, and it was just 2 doctors who decided they wanted to see the world. And who were those people? Clark's parents.
Yeah, so they're probably alive and on Earth. She can go find him now. You know
Yeah.
whose parents aren't alive? Glass. Glass's mom
Yikes.
is dead on that dropship. Died in her arms, actually. Worst way to go.
Ah,
And she takes this moment of her mother dying, very sad, to remember the day that she met Luke. Very happy day. She was late to curfew. She was doing homework. Luke intervened to intercept this older guard who was like hitting on her and walked her to her door. And honestly, nothing will give you more perspective on if you guys should get together again or not, when you are hurtling from space to Earth and you're like, you know what, actually, who cares if you killed my best friend?
yeah, you kind of realize everyone's gonna die anyway, so what's the point? So they're gonna hold
Mhm.
hands and kind of we're getting that they're a thing again.
They're a thing again.
Um, Wells on his way to leave, this girl Kendall finds him and is like, "Oh, can I come with you?" Yada yada yada. And Wells is noticing that Kendall's acting weird. And he's also near the grave yard that they've made again. And he starts to notice that the writing on the gravestones looks a lot like the writing from Priya's feet, which is
Yeah,
a huge thought to have.
inside job.
Maybe, we don't know
Mhm.
yet. But before Wells can really skidippity on out of camp, Octavia, Bellamy, and Clark are going to find him and be like, Wells, don't leave. We have more updates for you.
Yeah, he is like, Wells, rejoin the group with us. Bellamy, let's drop. We aren't born for ourselves. We need community. And Wells goes, wait a minute. Where did you learn that phrase? And Bellamy's like, I don't know. My dad would say it to make up for not seeing us. And this is how Wells is like, holy shit. We have the same dad. Your mom must be the woman that my dad was in love with before my mom.
Yikes. And that makes it also worse that the chancellor fathered a child and was like, whoa, 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 I'm gonna be chancellor. I can't marry this girl.
I know, seriously, which means he
Yikes.
was going back for more because Octavia is there
I don't
too. Like,
no, I
the
think they're
timelines.
I think Octavia's is like still half sister with Bellamy, so they do have different
Oh, okay.
fathers.
Okay.
But they're gonna shake hands in a good old brotherly agreement that they are related.
So this book kind of ends on everyone's looking up at the stars. Camp is descending for the night. They're kind of winding down. Things seem to be normal and chill. And Bellamy tells Clark, make a wish on a star. Oh my gosh, look at that one. Look at it. That comet descending to Earth.
Hurtling directly towards us.
And Clark is like, fuck, dude, I don't think that's a star. I think that's another dropship. So
And
they're
then they
not going to be
start to
alone for
notice a
long.
bunch of them all careening down from the sky.
Ugh, the girlies are coming to the meetup.
The girlies have arrived. We are ready to hang out. All
Yeah, so
right.
we're going to be reunited with our glass soon.
Oh, for the
Aw.
next book, which is Homecoming, very appropriate.
Oh, shit.
Yeah. Should we do our top 5 first?
Yeah, for our top 5, we did the top 5 things that are also in the underground Mount Weather,
And
the
Mount Weather, yeah.
bunker that's
So
underground.
with the directory that also had the useful things of like council office, hospital, doctor's office. These are the other things that we think that the directory would tell you where they are in Mount Weather.
Yeah, you
Um,
want to start?
yeah, coming in at number 5 is a walk through haunted house. Pretty spooky area already because we're underground. Think it'd be a great opportunity for a haunted house that you can walk through.
We have to emphasize it's on foot.
It's a foot walkthrough. It's not a ride. It's
It's
not the
not a
Haunted
ride.
Mansion in Disney World. No, no,
Nope.
no. It is a walk-through haunted house.
Number 4, we need to give them the real American experience and have a high school parking lot where everyone just kind of hangs out.
How else are the kids gonna build character? You tell me.
You
Name one way. How am I gonna build a character underground without a parking lot?
Yeah, you need those formative moments.
Number 3, Meggie and I, tried and true answer for a top 5, water park. Water park never ceases to not be a good response to a top 5, and we want a water park down in the ground.
I wrote an addendum that they've enshrined the SpongeBob ride because it's an eighth wonder of the world. Do with that what you may.
Wait, I think that's for the next one.
No, that's at Mall of America.
No,
Number 2
I just
though.
said water park.
Oh, number 2. Guys, okay,
Yeah,
number 2.
Maggie's joke. Maggie's gonna say their joke again, and everyone's gonna laugh this because it's gonna make more sense now.
Yes, okay, guys. Number 2, they're gonna enshrine the SpongeBob ride because it's an eighth wonder of the world. Because number 2 is Mall of America.
Yeah, the Mall of America amusement park to be specifically, not the whole Mall of America. It won't fit down there.
Number 3, we had Water Park, Mall of America amusement park. What more do you need?
What more do you need? I'll say it. Our number one
Okay.
spot is the last thing you'll need down there. The last standing party city for all of humanity.
Yeah, the events of the Cataclysm actually were triggered because Party City went out of
Well,
business.
what do you think? If you live underground, you're going to throw parties. You need a place to buy those party supplies. Amazon doesn't exist underground.
You need fun hats for every
Yeah.
occasion.
And balloons. Where else are you
And
supposed to buy your Halloween
balloons?
costumes when you live underneath a mountain?
And you gotta get high on helium. You just gotta have fun
That's
sometimes.
so true. All right, let's do our definitive ranking of our protagonists.
Bottom of the pyramid this week. We have Glass. Glass is down there.
You know, while Glass did save a lot of people, which is great. A lot of people also died.
A lot of people also died. I mean, I love her active fight against classism. That's great that we put the sky bridge down. I wish there was a more uniform way we could do it. I also think it's kind of crazy that she still didn't tell Luke at any point about Carter.
Yeah, that's still really shitty. Especially especially because they were about to die like from suffocation together. It's like you could have just like let it slide in when he had just the last breath of air in him.
Yeah, he should die
Mm.
knowing.
Number 3, we've actually moved Clark a little bit down. She doesn't do a ton in this book, other than lose her virginity.
Hey,
We like Clark in this book. We just like the other 2 characters better.
we do. And those other two characters coming in at number 2, we have Bellamy. Listen, yeah, he was a little bit aggressive. He's kind of a hothead, but he did fundamentally realize that it was not Clark's fault for Lily dying.
Yeah, I will say I do love that one Clark didn't like plead with Bellamy. She was just like, "Dude, I get it." And will say I do love that Bellamy didn't ask like Clark to explain herself. He just fundamentally understood where she was coming from, which I think is very important.
Yeah.
Number 1, huge jump from bottom to the top. Wells, for advocating for Sasha constantly throughout this book and for constantly looking out for the best interest of literally everybody in the camp. Wells was honestly killing it this book.
Yeah, Wells really turned it around.
Whew. Yeah, and honestly, I can't wait to see who turns it around next book, if anybody will.
And that is where we are going to leave day 21. If you want to hang out with us online, I am actually posting and it takes a lot of my energy and effort. So please follow us on TikTok at Yeah We Read It, Blue Sky, I think, at Yeah We Read It.
Yeah.
Or just email us, give us an old fashioned email, Meggie and Laura present at gmail.com. We're also on Instagram, Meggie underscore and underscore Laura. Yeah, that's kind of it.
That's the vibe. We'll be back next week for the 100 homecoming, and it's gonna be a blast. We will miss you until then.
Moi.
Mwah.